A mother in pain applies her prescribed pain patch, goes to sleep, to awaken to her worst nightmare. In the middle of the night, her patch comes into contact with her 15-month-old child, and it administers a fatal dose of fentanyl to the baby. Tragic story. It happened. This baby was co-sleeping with the mother, and then discovered the mother that the fentanyl patch was missing from her body. It had come into contact with the child, and what people don't realize is that these patches are designed based on how big you are, how much you weigh. Toxicology report found fentanyl in the child's blood, also bile and hair, and it became obvious that was exposed to transdermal fentanyl. And this wasn't a mother who was abusing drugs. This was a mother who was using a prescription fentanyl patch to control pain. This is sad. It's
incredibly sad, and I think it's important to raise awareness about this, because I don't think any of us as parents, especially if you co-sleep with your baby, are even thinking that this is a possibility, because something like fentanyl, which is an opioid, is going to depress your respiration, it's going to drop blood pressure, and when you have a dose that's intended for an adult and then is on a 15-month-old baby, it's such a high toxic level dose that it can be fatal, as it was in this case. I think it's also important to point out that you should not, as a parent, ever be applying patches in front of your kids. You should never refer to them as Band-Aids or make them something appealing to a child. Obviously, this was a co-sleeping situation, but you don't want your kids getting into that stash in any way and thinking it's a toy or something that they want to put on like Band-Aids for fun. I might go a step further and say that this story maybe implies that if you're a parent with a small child, maybe you shouldn't wear the patch, because this isn't the mother's fault at all. No. But what I'm saying is maybe we see this and we realize that no matter how much care you may take, kids love Band-Aids.
Oh, they do.
And a fentanyl patch can look a lot like a Band-Aid, and you can see that kid pulling, if it comes off, licking it or applying it. Ooh, I have a fake boo-boo, and you're asleep, and it's not your fault, but you're asleep, you don't even know this is happening. Maybe this becomes a question if you're going to give someone a fentanyl patch. Do you have any small children in the home? Do you co-sleep? And if the answer is yes to any of those, or there's any risk, then okay, let's use a different oral form of this medication or similar medication.
And I think in general, people don't realize that you can overdose, and with a child, in this case, it seems like the child absorbed even more than an adult would, and maybe related to the difference in skin and thickness and things like that.
Could be. I mean, these patches are designed to be worn once every 72 hours. So you think about a dose that's designed to be delivered over 3 days, then going into the very small bloodstream of a child, that's what's going to be so incredibly toxic. But I think it is important to point out, if the one exception in terms of disposing of these patches, that's kind of an interesting take-home that I learned reading about this, is that fentanyl patches are actually one of the few medications the FDA allows you to dispose of in your toilet, because they are so toxic and they can be so dangerous, that the way to dispose it is to take the adhesive and stick it upon itself and then just flush it down the toilet rather than put it in the trash where it can be accessed by animals or kids or anyone else.